Have you ever asked yourself the bigger questions in life? Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing with my life? If so, this week's episode is for you. I'm Siobhan Barnes, and I work with career women to realign their ladders against the right wall so they can do meaningful work that matters not just to themselves, but to others too. So these are big questions, right? Why am I here? What am I here to do? And I believe that if these are questions that you are thinking about and asking yourself, that's a gentle nudge from your internal guidance, your heart, your body, your soul, whatever you want to call it, to make a change and to do something differently. Now, when I say this, I don't mean you have to do anything drastic. You don't have to become an entrepreneur. You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to join an NGO and do something at the other end of the spectrum. You can start with baby steps. But if there is that call, there is that desire within you, it's something to be explored, it's something to play with, and it's something to really experiment with and have fun with. Because I think that when you close down that inkling, that voice, that's when physical manifestations in the body will appear. Maybe you'll get that tight neck, maybe you'll have a cold that you just can't shake, maybe you'll have that headache that forces you to lie down in bed all day. Your body will talk to you and tell you when something is not right. And I believe that we get these gentle nudges, and if we're not sensitive to those, then the body turns up the ante and gets you to listen, sometimes in pretty harsh ways. And so if you're hearing this and you haven't had that big health issue or relationship issue or whatever crisis it is, please just pay attention and start this curious process of who am I, what am I here to do, with a playful nature, with a really fun attitude, because really this is something to be explored. As I've been developing my work and my process, it's always been with corporate women. What I've found is that at the end of the day, we all desire to feel like we're on the right path for ourselves. We want to create success, yes, but we want to be fulfilled too. And we want it to be about more than just the bottom line. We want it to make a meaningful contribution to society at large. And we've all got a different place to play, a different role to play in that contribution. And so if you're being called to do something more meaningful, I have 3 suggestions for you. Number 1, take a look at the identity that you have wrapped up in your job as it stands right now. Who do you feel you are in the world, and you have to be in the world in order to be quote unquote successful? Let me give you an example. When I quit my corporate job, I had a real nosedive in confidence and self-esteem, because I was like, well, if I'm not working for this big company, who am I? I'm just nobody. And my identity had become so wrapped up in this corporate role that I felt like I had no other options. But once I was able to say, you know what, I'm enough as I am without that corporate role behind me or that company backing me, that's when I was able to free myself up to explore and to play and actually listen to where I was being called to be of service. So number 1, look at that identity that you have at the moment and ask yourself, is it really serving me? Number 2, I want you to just take a minute to really take some time to become intimate with that inner voice that's asking these questions. Where do you feel it? Where do you hear it? And start to practice tuning into that on a regular basis. And ask it questions. Why am I here? What am I here to do? And notice what intuitively comes to mind, what comes back immediately. Because your mind or your body or whatever it is that your body is trying to show you, it will come. And if it doesn't, it's just simply a practice of giving it the space and the safety and assurance that it can come out and show you. Number 3, I encourage you to actually look after yourself. When you are a woman who has many different roles to play, many different people to look after and nurture, it can be very difficult to make sure that you're giving yourself some space to look after yourself and quiet the mind and tap into that inner intuition, or chief soul officer, as I like to call her. So think about one practice you can take a day. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be huge, to really tune in and do something that feels nurturing for you. So for me, I love to journal. That makes me feel really good. That's a way for me to get all the stuff that's in my mind out on paper and just to have that clean slate. For others, it will be a meditation practice. For some, it will be stretching. For some, it will be going to run. You get to choose whatever feels right for you. But those are the 3 steps to start to begin this curious, playful energy and this curious, playful exploration process to answering those bigger questions in life. And look, if you need help with this, this is exactly what I support women with in my Soul Aligned Career Program. And if you're interested in hearing more, just shoot me an email and I would be more than happy to explain a little bit more about how I can support you. But for now, make sure you follow those 3 steps to get started. And just remember, there's no one in the world who can do what you do the way you do it. And you are here for a reason. You are here to make a meaningful contribution that only you can. So keep going after it, have fun exploring it, and keep going after that dream because we need you. Sending lots of love.